I want my own bat mitzvah. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Comic Book Nostalgia. I'm CB Nostalgia. We've got your review of Season 1, Episode 2 of Harley Quinn, entitled High Bar. But first, make sure you get on this month's holiday giveaway. We're giving away a Captain America waffle maker. All you have to do to get on the giveaway is be a subscriber, hit like, and leave a comment. Well, DC Universe has dropped the second episode of the Harley Quinn series, and it's another bang-up episode. Now again, I wanted to point out to everybody, this show is not for kids. At least not little kids. A lot of swearing, a lot of gore, and more than a couple of sexual references. So, you've been warned. I wanted to say before we dug too far into this recap and review how much I really like what DC Universe has done with Harley Quinn. Some of her antics are a little overused, and somehow they've managed to take not just Harley, but Poison Ivy, Bane, and many of the other Gotham's Rogues Gallery, and sort of reboot them in a way that makes them fresh, but not too much of a departure from the original source material. With all that said, let's dive into this week's episode. The new episode is entitled High Bar, and pretty much continues where we left off last time. It picks up with Harley and Ivy watching some TV, Howie Mandel actually, when the Joker breaks into the stream. He actually is taking Howie hostage, and he makes pretty much a public spectacle out of his and Harley's breakup, shortly before blowing up Howie. Now naturally, Harley feels like she needs to respond, and decides that she's going to prove him wrong, and show up at a party at the Cobblepots coming up, to show that she's out on her own. She wants to prove to Joker and his Legion of Doom buddies what this girl is really made of. Now during this first scene, we get a lot more of Frank the Houseplant. And I gotta say, I love this character. He was a small part of episode 1, but really steps up in this episode. He is totally Little Shop of Horrors, but with a foul tongue, and provides sort of an open commentary on what's happening to the characters. I like it because it allows the audience to interact sort of in a unique way with the story, with Frank commenting on what's actually happening and what we're already thinking. Now, like I said, this party is being thrown by the Cobblepots, Penguin, and Harley shows up in her glamour glory, even with a tiger. But it's not the kind of party she thinks it is. It's actually a bar mitzvah for their son. Actually, it's called a bank mitzvah, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Now, the best part about this is there is a ton of Gotham's villains here. Penguin, obviously, but we also get Two-Face, Scarecrow, and most importantly, Bane, who's an absolute freaking joy. Bane's voice acting and the script is just perfect, and plays off the character's history pretty well, with more than a few really killer meta jokes. Now, eventually, the Joker shows up and basically publicly disses Harley at the party in front of everyone. And does Harley overreact? Of course she does. Now, when Harley showed up at this party, she brought Ivy, and all Ivy wants her to do is to hang out with her and avoid some of these fourth-tier baddies who obviously want to do some kind of gig with her. And Kite Man is that guy. The banter between her and Kite Man is on epic levels. Ivy's cutting wit and Kite Man's epic douchebag level of pervy smarminess somehow comes off as hilarious. Now, Kite Man can be a little cringy, but he's a lot of fun, and if you liked him in this episode, I'm sure you're going to be happy with the rest of the season. Now, eventually, Harley finds herself on the wrong end of this party. After the Joker humiliates her, she tries to rob the Gotham bank that's actually and conveniently in that building. But it turns out, the bank has been set up as a stage for the Penguin's son's bar mitzvah. The money in the safe is for the kid's bar mitzvah, and Harley is made to look a fool. Plus, the Penguin is not too happy, and takes Harley hostage. Now, in the interim, Kite Man, being fairly unsuccessful with his hits against Ivy, uses her love potion on some of the children at the party, which means now they're in love with Ivy and will eventually die. So Ivy finds herself having to team up with him and get the antidote from her own apartment. Now, for every single guy that watches this video and watches the episode, use Kite Man as a checklist of what not to do on a date. That's all I'm going to say. By the time she returns, Harley has now been captured by the Penguin, and we have a really nice closing battle sequence. Eventually, Harley is saved by Ivy, who, in the show you really start to realize is so much more powerful than most of Gotham's other villains. Now I gotta say, I really love this episode, and the show continues to be funny. Both Bane and Kite Man were awesome additions to the show, and I can't really leave out Frank either. All three of them bring the comedy on the show up to a pretty new level. Now again, this is a super adult show, and if that wasn't apparent enough, Kite Man's tighty whities will actually highlight that a little bit for everybody. Well, that and the F-bombs and the compound bloody fractures from various people on the wrong end of Harley Quinn's baseball bat. I'm sure the show will continue to grow on you like it did on me, and I'm going to give this episode an 8 out of 10. As you guys know, I tend to flag stuff pretty favorably, and I'm pretty easy to make happy. But this show is a lot of fun, and I'm just leaving a little bit of room for improvement as the season goes on. Oh, and by the way, best closing line of any show ever, and perfectly applies to the idea of children shouldn't be watching the show. And this channel isn't for kids, so cop of that. Tell me what you think of this episode, and do you like what they've done with Harley Quinn and Gotham's Rogues Gallery for the show? There's so many more great characters to even meet this season. Wait till you meet King Shark. If you like this video, make sure you press like, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you won't get any updates. Peace.